directed and starring John Krasinski, who most of us know is from The Office, and it also stars his wife, Emily Blunt. And it is his wife in real life, which is really interesting because she plays his wife in the movie too. And I like seeing that kind of thing, where husband and wife can actually sit down and make a movie together and have it work. And in this movie, it works really well. But A Quiet Place is about a family and like a near, I wouldn't say dystopian, but they're in a near future. I think it's 2020. And basically aliens have invaded Earth. And these aliens are really prone to sound. They can hear sound really well from a very far distance. And so you have to be very, very quiet. And so the movie focuses on this family of four and them learning, or not really learning, they already are, which I'll get back to in a second. But it's basically them and what they have to do to stay alive. One of the things they use to communicate in the movie is sign language, because one of their daughters is deaf, and so obviously, sign language was probably a part of their life before this, apocalyptic scenario happened, and so they use that to communicate, which I really liked personally because I take a college class that teaches sign language because my high school doesn't offer it, and so they paid for me to take a college class, which knocks out high school credit and college credit, and it was sign language, so I've been learning it, and so it was really interesting, to watch this movie. I mean, I could watch any movie, but this is like the first movie I've watched where they communicate with sign language, and so it was really cool, to watch them do that. I really liked it. But there was something a couple seconds ago I said I would come right back to, and that's that this movie doesn't start out when the apocalypse thing type happens with the aliens. It actually starts 80 days in. They show where our group of survivors are at this point in time, and then it cuts to about a year later, and it's about 400 days in, I believe. And so that's what I really like about this, is that, I mean, come on, we've seen this, scenario many times where it's the family and the apocalypse happens and they need to, get underground or, out of town or whatever. And so that's what I like about this one, is that they don't have to rely on showing us that. They can just say, look, this thing happened, here's what it is, and this is where we're at now. We'll just let you put the two pieces together. It's been a hard survival, but we've done it, and this is where we are. So I think that was something the movie really did well, was because the movie's only 95 minutes long. It's a very short movie, and so John Krasinski didn't want to waste time saying, oh, yep, this thing happened, this is how we got here, now let's actually pick up on the real movie. So that was something I really enjoyed about this, was we didn't need a lot of exposition. Here are the downsides of the movie where, going into it and then after watching it, and these aren't going to be spoilers, I'm not going to spoil this movie for you at all because I didn't want to be spoiled seeing it because the trailer doesn't give away a lot. So I'm not going to spoil anything. But some of the things, I mean, with this movie, if you go to see it, you really have to suspend your disbelief, because there are just some things in the movie where you're like, well, this would draw sound, so why aren't the creatures here? And one of those things that I really noticed is that the movie has our characters using electricity. And so I've seen other reviewers point this out too, and even my friends who I went with pointed this out, is like, what if like their generator breaks down? Or like even just in general, a generator makes a lot of noise. So like, wouldn't that attract the monsters? Which is something where it's like, oh yeah, they would, but you have to really suspend your disbelief on this. And another thing, I wasn't really a fan of the ending. I loved the whole movie, but the last 30 seconds I wasn't on board with, which in a way to me is a bit of a disappointment because, I'm powering through the whole entire movie and then the ending comes and I'm like, ooh, I kind of leave a sour taste in my mouth. I still love the movie, but I wasn't the biggest fan of the last 30 seconds. Also, this isn't an issue with the movie, so it's not going to affect the rating I give it. It's just something I kind of picked up on. The movie's not really a horror. It's marketed as a horror, which it is a horror. It definitely is, but when I think of horror, I think of like scary things, I hate to say this, but jump scares usually what come into my mind when I think of horror. Or like, something scary. And I mean, yes, the monsters in the movie are scary, but I found the movie to be more suspenseful than scary. It's not really a horror. I think it's more of a thriller. Overall, I love The Quiet Place. I definitely think it's probably going to be one of the best movies of 2018. I like to compare it to Get Out because Get Out was the horror movie of 2017, and I think A Quiet Place is going to be the horror movie of 2018. I'm going to give A Quiet Place a 9 out of 10. I loved this movie. It was so good, and I highly recommend that all of you go see it. Thank you all so much for listening. If you've liked what you listened to on here and you want to listen to more, go like, comment, and subscribe. That'd be really helpful and I would really appreciate it. The links to all my social medias are listed down below in the description. Other than that, this has been A Talk in Depth.